nobody's here. Let's see if someone comes in. Hopefully we'll have some people here. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Is the camera way too shaky? Can you guys hear me? Thanks. Let's cut my hair. You guys like my haircut? I actually cut my own hair to save a whole bunch of money. Let me find a good spot to just stop so I don't have such a shaky camera. How are you guys doing? Yeah, but I'm not in the military. Never been. But it's the easiest haircut when you cut your own hair. At least for me, it's the easiest haircut to do. I do look like I'm in the military, especially with this hat. Let's see. Can I just adjust the camera? Let me just adjust this camera here. No, never in the military. Maybe I should take the hat off. I'm in the shade, aren't I? Where am I from? I am Arab American. My family's Arab, but I live in the United States. So how are you guys? Let's see the name of the countries where you're from. UK, Turkey, Nassalsen, England, Denmark, Sierra Leone, wow. Bangladesh, South Africa, mashallah. Earth. Yes, we're all from Earth, alhamdulillah. Afghanistan. Oh, nice. India. Okay, very nice. Okay, very nice. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Ooh, Fiji, beautiful. All right, very good. It's nice to see people from all over the world. I pray that you guys are doing well, staying safe. So yeah, I know it's a short notice, and most likely you'll have more short notices for me coming live stream. I just want to confirm, can you guys hear me? Last time there was an audio problem. Okay, great. Usually my free time is just spontaneous, so I'll try to give you a heads up half an hour or so before I come online. And really today isn't really anything particular besides I have a couple of things on my mind that I just wanted to talk to you about, and then maybe we can have a small chat before I have to go again. The first thing I want to talk about is that a lot of people have been asking me about Dr. Kashif Khan. Okay, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but it is not, I have to emphasize this, I've never done this in any of my videos, and I never will, is point at someone in particular, besides that one Christian dude that was a revert from Islam, I think. I forgot his name, the guy who said that Muhammad is omnipresent or something like that. But it's not really typical of my style to do that in any way. I don't like to point fingers at anybody or say this guy's whatever, label him in any way. It's not something that I'm interested in. But a lot of people have been asking me about Dr. Kashif Khan's work and what is my opinion about it. Now again, I need to emphasize this is my perspective about it, and it's just something I just want to share with you guys what I think about his work. Now, first of all, sorry, I'm looking at the comments. Is there a problem with the sound or anything? Or am I... Who is Dr. Kashif Khan? Okay, so some people have been asking me about Dr. Kashif Khan. He has a LinkedIn profile, I think, and all of his articles are super lengthy articles. Now, as far as his credentials, now let me tell you about myself first of all. I don't have any credentials in the sense that I went to a university to study the Arabic language or anything of that sort. Actually, I should probably make this clear to a lot of people, because some people think I'm some Arabic language expert. I am not. I never claimed to be that. I am fluent in the language. I speak the language. I grew up with the language. I'm just a regular. I know the basics. I'd say I'm very average. I'm an average Arabic. I have very average knowledge in the Arabic language. And so it's just like in English, average. I don't have any credentials. With that being said, Dr. Kashif Khan, I don't know who he is particularly, but he does claim that he has a slew of all these credentials in the language, and he knows English, Arabic, Urdu, whatever, all these things. So I'm not going to try to dismiss his credentials, but what I am going to address is the actual work that he provides in his articles. And I have read, I would say, a handful of his articles, a handful, including the ones about Ramadan, about Salah, and people are asking me about my opinion about them. I think that a lot of his work, the vast majority of his work in regards to the articles, are a baloney. That's the nicest way to put him. To me, I'm not going to go into the specifics, but what I can say is that a lot of to me, it seems as if he does not believe in the idea of cross-referencing Quranic verses with each other. His method is primarily geared to finding a root word. He believes in this idea of proto-roots, which is basically removing vowels from the Arabic roots and then try to find it in another language, like in Hebrew, or I think he mostly used Hebrew. And so I don't agree with that method. And then he does not cross-reference Quranic verses with each other. I've been told that he actually thinks that's a satanic method. Don't quote me on that, but this is what I've heard. This is what I've read in one of the comments, is that he believes it's a satanic method to cross-reference Quranic verses with each other. And his primary way to extracting a meaning from the Quran is to resort to Arabic grammar. Okay, not to say that Arabic grammar is wrong, it's bad, but it is to say that we shouldn't use exclusively that method without considering the Quranic verses, the other Quranic verses that need to be taken. For example, excuse me. For example, in one of his articles, he talked about Ramadan, and he said that the Arabic word unzila, okay, unzila, come down, something that comes down, is actually an imperative verb. Okay, unzila is an imperative verb, something that comes down. And any Arabic speaker, any average Joe, me, any Arabic speaker will tell you unzila is not a verb. It's not. It's a past tense, actually, and it's not a verb. And so, and what all he did was that he referenced some Arabic grammar book that says that unzila is an imperative verb. He did not provide reference, as far as I know. Moreover, if you just simply look up the word unzila in the Quran, throughout the Quran, it's not an imperative verb. It is not. So, again, where is he coming up with these ideas? I have no idea. So there's a lot of problems that I found in his articles, and especially the methodology in which he is coming to conclusions with in regards to Quranic verses. But on top of all that, I would read his translation, the retranslation of the Quranic verse that's in question, and it makes zero sense. Absolutely zero sense. So this is how I see it. Actually, I have a couple of friends here who are also Arabs, and we all read his articles, and we found lots of mistakes, lots of problems with the methodology, inconsistent methodology, how he's finding root words, and even trying to find a root word of a word is actually the way he tried to identify them are also incorrect. So I found a lot of problems with them. So that's my thoughts in regards to Dr. Kashif Khan. I don't know if it's ideal or necessary for me to really grab one article and try to just address every single point, because his articles are absolutely lengthy. But this is just my opinion about it. I don't agree with his methodology. I don't agree with his work. And besides all of that, a lot of the translations that he does do not make sense. I mean, I tried to look at his translation of the Ramadan verses. They don't make sense. So those are my thoughts in regards to Dr. Kashif Khan. Okay, let's see if there's... Dr. Kashif Khan also claimed that Mary was a prophetess. I guess there is some people can argue with that. I personally don't think she is, but some people can argue. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm going through some of the comments here. Just give me a second. Baloney, yes. You are a fitna and nothing else. I am a fitna. Great. What do you think of Laylatul Qadr? We'll get to that, inshallah. Let me, my other primary thing that I wanted to talk about is, this has been on my mind, actually, the idea of scientific miracles in the Quran. To me, for the longest time, I did believe that there are scientific miracles in the Quran. And it's basically one way Muslims can prove that the Quran is from God, right? You can prove the divinity of the Quran by saying, look, this verse was mentioned 1400 years ago, and only recently science has been able to uncover this or confirm this or so forth. And to me, after reading the Quran for a long time now, like just I've been studying it for a while, and I'm trying to be as honest as I can with the Quran, as honest as I can. Nowadays, I see that there are no scientific miracles per the way we are talking about it in the Quran. To me, the Quran is a simple book in the sense that it's meant to be something that you can appreciate in your day-to-day life. When God speaks of the sun and the moon, how they rise and set and everything like that, it's for the simple-minded human, especially people back then, that they can simply appreciate the creation of God. It is not meant to be evaluated or scrutinized in a scientific way. And remember, this idea of having scientific miracles in the Quran can be problematic, because we can claim that this verse is actually a scientific verse, or a verse that confirms science, and then somebody from the science field will tell you, no, 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 there's something absolutely wrong there. That's so not scientific. Like the example of the embryology, right? The whole idea of embryology, how the Quran talks about embryology, and some embryologists will tell you, no, that's not really how the fetus is developed, you know? So there's a lot of things that this idea of science in the Quran can be disputable, I should say. So I do plan, inshallah, to talk about this particular topic in one of my PowerPoint presentations. And basically what I plan on doing is taking the most common verses that are claimed to be scientific, and then reevaluate them from a very simple and standardized point that humans back then could relate to, you know? And I think that's important, because we need to also acknowledge that the Quran should not be a book of mysteries for people that lived 1400 years ago. People that lived 1400 years ago were simple-minded people, and the Quran wasn't meant to be scientific for them. It's meant to be something, again, simple and that you can appreciate. And so that's the idea behind this idea of having scientific miracles or not in the Quran. So inshallah, I plan on doing that. Now, let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, someone earlier asked about Laylatul Qadr. When is Laylatul Qadr? Now, Laylatul Qadr, we need to understand that God does not give us a time when Laylatul Qadr is. All right? I have questions in regards to Laylatul Qadr. Why doesn't God say, we have brought down the Quran in Laylatul Qadr? I mean, we can kind of deduce that it's referring to the Quran, but I find it interesting that God did not even refer to a book or the Quran. He just says, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. We have brought it down in Laylatul Qadr. So this is an interesting perspective. I don't know the answer for it, but bottom line is that God does not give us when Laylatul Qadr is. Some people say it's the first day of Ramadan. Some people say it's the equinox, the fall-winter equinox. And some people, like traditionalists, will say it's the 27th night of Ramadan. But in reality, the Quran does not provide for us an actual date or time of when Laylatul Qadr is. And I think that's of significance. That means it doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter when Laylatul Qadr is, because the Quran does not specify when. So to us, it's not relevant, okay? Second thing we need to point out is that the verse says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. تَنَزَّلُ, the angels come down, or came down. And so, تَنَزَّلُ, this was actually an observation by another Arab scholar about the Quran. He pointed this out, and I said, wow, this is of significance. تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. It means that the angels came down, okay? There's another verse in the Quran, and forgive me, I don't remember where, but I can provide the reference, inshallah, where the verse says that those who basically worship God, decide that there's only one God, and they led a straight life. تَتَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. The angels will come down onto them. Okay, the difference is that تَتَنَزَّلُ is used in this verse, whereas in Laylatul Qadr it's تَنَزَّلُ. Okay, تَتَنَزَّلُ versus تَنَزَّلُ. تَتَنَزَّلُ means that they are continuously coming down, whereas تَنَزَّلُ for Laylatul Qadr means it happened once and it's done with. So to me, Laylatul Qadr, finding the exact date doesn't not matter. Of course, if you guys have your perspectives about that, I'm always open and willing to learn from you guys as well. But to my understanding, since the Quran does not provide a specific day or date of when the Quran came down, then you guys, then it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm getting distracted. 41:30. What is that verse? What is that in reference to, guys? Oh, the verse I'm speaking of. تَتَنَزَّلُ. Okay. 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 Good. Thank you for referencing that. I don't have my Quran with me. I have a lot of stuff here, but sometimes when I'm talking and excited, I can't reference the Quranic verses. So, but thank you for that. So bottom line, in regards to Laylatul Qadr, I don't think it really matters when, because God does not specify. Okay. Is cross-reference verses supported by the Quran? Yes. Yes, it is. There is a video I made about Surah 3, verse 7, the verse that talks about how there are ayat muhkamat wa ayat mutashabihat. Ayat, and I talked about how in that verse, it's not saying that there are clear-cut verses and allegorical verses. This is the common interpretation of that verse. Muhkamat and mutashabihat, please watch that video, but let me just give you a summary. Mutashabihat means something that looks like something else. So the idea is that one verse, this is why God often repeats things in the Quran. This is how the Quran explains itself. And so in some verses, God will say one thing, in another verse he'll say another thing, and we need to cross-reference those verses in order to obtain a full spectrum and picture of what is being talked about. And aside from all that, even if we didn't interpret this verse this way, obviously the best method is to actually cross-reference. You know, if God is using one term here and uses that same term in another verse, then it makes sense that you want to reference the same scripture, the same source, to obtain the information that you're looking for, right? Yes, thank you for quoting 41:30. Our Lord is God, then go straight. The angels will descend upon them. تَتَنَزَّلُ. Notice in Arabic it says تَتَنَزَّلُ. There's two T's, تَتَنَزَّلُ. It refers like it's a continuous thing that's happening. Whereas in Laylatul Qadr is تَنَزَّلُ with one T. تَنَزَّلُ means it happened only that time, at that and once. And even the surah itself, it says وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. Some people interpret مَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ as God is talking and asking the Prophet, what do you know of Laylatul Qadr? It's as if the Prophet didn't even know when Laylatul Qadr is. Correct. So one interpretation is that Laylatul Qadr is the equinox, because qadara can refer to something that you weigh against something else, qadara. And so people say, oh, it's possibly that's referring to the equinox. It's possible. But to me, I mean, really, we can play, we can people can assume things, but to me, again, we can make that assumption, but I think the Quran could have been more clear if it's referring to that. Um, how's your opinion on fasting in Ramadan changed? Then why are people say that cross-referencing is bad or satanic? I don't know. Why would anybody say that? Why? What is their cross-referencing the Quran with verses in itself? How can that be satanic? I don't see the logic behind that. In fact, again, I see in the Quran that God does encourage us to ensure that we are cross-referencing. That's why to build a full picture of any subject or any topic, we need to refer to various verses in the Quran in order to build that holistic picture. I got bugs all over me now. So, yeah, it will contradict the false hadith. It's very possible. I mean, if you cannot cross-reference the Quran with itself, then you obviously have to go outside to find the information that you're looking for, and therefore you can tasrif al-ayat, exactly, and then you can actually come up with any conclusion you want, really. Let's see. What is the root word for mu'min? This is I like the way God is using the word mu'min, amana, all these things. Mu'min comes from amana. Amana means security, some type of security. I haven't really studied the term, but ultimately it refers of some form of security. And so when God says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, oh you who have believed, okay, that's the translation, believed, but in reality, if we look at the root, it means, oh, those of you who have obtained security or who have become secure. This is the significance of being called a mu'min, okay? It's translated as believer, typically, but in reality, amana, it's a type of security. So it signifies that you have believed in God, and therefore therefore you are secure, okay? And so, I think it will be really interesting to kind of examine all the occurrences of the word amana in the Quran, to see how it plays along with other verses as well. Those who had become secure because of belief, correct. Has your opinion of fasting and Ramadan changed? Ultimately, no. A while ago, I believe that God spoke of ayyaman ma'dudat and then of Ramadan in Surah 2. And I understood that we are to fast ayyaman ma'dudat in Ramadan. But in reality, if we try to be as objective as possible, when we read the passage, at least to me, it shows that there are actually two fasts. There's the fast ayyaman ma'dudat, and there is the fast of Ramadan. So it's really two different types of, I wouldn't say two different types, but two different fasts at two different times. So, okay, Mr. Abid, slow down with the bombardment of the same comment. Hold on. The idea of, yeah, so now what I understand is that there is the siyam of ayyaman ma'dudat, which is outside of Ramadan, and then there's the fast of the month of Ramadan, which is in Ramadan. So this is the way I see it now. And I mentioned this previously, that most likely I might take down one of the videos that I talked about how it's ayyam and ma'dudat, you fast a few number of days in Ramadan. Oh, and a lot of people are still asking me about what are the ayyam and ma'dudat. Look guys, I did not specify the ayyam and ma'dudat because to me, God does not specify the ayyam and ma'dudat. Ayyam ma'dudat could be between 3 to 10 days. And to me, it seems like God left it open for the individual to decide when to do and how many days. And by the way, this is probably why in traditional Islam, okay, if you read through the history and the hadiths, a lot of them believed in fasting a few days each month because of the ayyam and ma'dudat. And then the Quranic verse came down about Ramadan. So in addition to fasting ayyam and ma'dudat, you are to fast the month of Ramadan. This is again the traditional understanding of that passage, okay? And again, please refer to my video about the whole idea of Ramadan is not an obligation as far as fasting. The ayyam and ma'dudat are. Okay, let me see if I can find. Is there any single hadith could we accept as 100% authentic? Yes, the Quran. The Quran is the 100% authentic hadith. Allahu anzala ahsan al-hadith. Right? God has sent down the best hadith. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق فبأي حديث بعد الله وآياته يؤمنون. So the most authentic hadith that is from the mouth of the Prophet is the Quran. It's interesting, since I don't have a lot of videos in Arabic, since posting my video in Arabic, the last one, about the Salah onto the Prophet, I've been getting a lot of inquiries from other Arabs, and a lot of them are like, oh, you don't believe in the Sunnah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, stuff like that. And to me, I think it's ideal also to make a video in Arabic about why we should actually follow the Quran alone, and how in reality, if we were really looking for the Sunnah or the Sunnah of the Prophet, it's all found in the Quran. I mean, if you are looking for a way that the Prophet lived and behaved and interacted with the people, and all these things, it's all in the Quran. Everything else outside, sure, some of it could be true, but a lot of it cannot be true. And again, whether it's true or not doesn't matter. We have the Quran. This is what we should rely on. It's true that some of the idea of scientific miracles in the Quran have made people convert to Islam. Sure, there's no denial of that. And remember, during the lifetime of the Prophet, how did people convert to Islam? What convinced them to convert to Islam? It's simply the message. This is what made people convert to Islam. The message of, what just hit me? The message of the Quran itself, okay? Yes, the language probably at that time played a huge role, okay, because the Quran was of high eloquence. But it was, generally speaking, the message of the Quran that made them believe that the Quran is from God. It's really as simple as that. Now, to me, any person who convert to Islam because of some scientific miracle and whatnot, that's fabulous, all right? No, great. But again, what if that person learned later on down the road, he learned that, oh, this verse doesn't really confirm any scientific thing, any scientific finding. So-and-so scientist said that this verse isn't scientific, it's actually incorrect, or maybe science later at some other time found something new and therefore it debunked that old scientific finding. It could be problematic for that person, right? So this is the idea of having the whole scientific thing in the Quran. Let's see. When will you make a video about inheritance? Oh my gosh. I've been studying the Quran since 2004. 2004. I've been studying the Quran since then. I always dodged the inheritance. Only because I was bad with fractions. I have not studied the whole topic of inheritance. I was intimidated by it. And only recently I started getting into it. And I have heard a whole bunch of debates, Speaker's Corners debates, about how the Quran can't do math and whatnot, and because the numbers do not add up well if your family is X, Y, Z, right? If you have two sisters and a brother and a mother and your wife, you know, how do you divide that based off of the Quran? It doesn't add up. To me, this idea of inheritance, I think it's a good topic to cover, inshallah. But yes, the claim is true. It doesn't add up. But it's obviously for a reason, right? Because the Quran is just simply giving you a cookie cutter standard for dividing the inheritance. And obviously, each person, the Quran doesn't know how many family members you have or I have. So it's just giving you a standardized cookie cutter. And from there, you actually have to, I don't know what the term is in mathematics, but basically you need to, I wouldn't say adjust, but there is some values that you need to add or subtract in order to make sure that it reaches up to a 1, okay, a value of 1. I don't know, I just butchered probably the whole idea, but basically the standard traditional way to me, calibrate, thank you, the traditional way to do it doesn't seem wrong, mathematically speaking, but then the people can argue, well, you're not going by what the Quran is telling you. So I think this is a good topic to cover, inshallah. Basically, if you guys have any materials that you'd like to share in regards to the inheritance, please provide link, share a comment, whatever. And remember, these types of live streams, it's me and you, okay? I want you guys to be fully engaged as well. And so I'm gonna do my very best to, you know, address whatever comments you have. But ultimately, these live streams are just really, I know I'm speaking, it's only a one-way talking, but inshallah, I would like to have you guys be engaged, because really, it's not about me, it's about us. I want to learn Quran Arabic like you. How can I learn Arabic? Please provide your guidance. I'm sorry, I don't have a reference. I grew up in the Middle East, so I know Arabic. I understand and I'm fluent in the language. I don't really need any materials. So I'm sure there's a lot online. You can find a lot of stuff online. I don't really have any preference at all in regards to the lessons of Quran or Arabic language. It's not an, there's a troll in the chat. Yes, there is. Does the Quran endorse cutting hands of thieves? I once upon a time, you guys, most of you probably missed it, I posted a video, a very quick 3-minute video about this idea of cutting the hands in the Quran. And I removed it just because I felt like it was a little premature and maybe I should kind of delve a little deeper into it. But yes, Aqila, Correct. It's cutting, not cutting off. Okay. Uh, the idea is that, to me, okay, like quill, aquila. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay, so the idea of cutting the hands in the Quran, it's Latin. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, stop talking. Aquila. The idea of cutting in the Quran is the Arabic word is qata. Okay, qata. فَقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا. So it's not, the Arabic word qata does not necessitate cutting off as in severing, but rather it could refer to just a simple cut. Like in the surah of Joseph, of Yusuf, when the women saw Joseph, me, the handsome fella, they cut their fingers, okay? They cut their hands. They did not, it doesn't make sense that they cut off their hands. That would be crazy, obviously. They cut their hands as if they're so distracted that they cut their hands. So the cutting of hands is that they basically, they left them a mark or a cut on the hand. And this is the idea of the Quran when it comes to cutting and also lashing. The idea is that you're addressing a societal issue, okay? A societal issue. Cutting someone's hand off is not, obviously not something that's going to benefit anybody. What God is referring to here is cutting, as in cutting their hand, leaving a mark on the hand. You want to scar their hands so that the next time this individual who is all the time stealing stuff, this individual comes to buy something, he reaches out to purchase, he has a mark on his hand where the seller knows that this person has stolen in the past. Same thing, it's the same idea, same principle with the adultery, okay, where they lash the person on the back to leave marks and scars on the back so that the next time this person wants to have sex or whatever, they remove their shirt and there's scars on the back, leaving a mark on that person that they will regret for the rest of their life, because they'll say this guy's history is that he was an adulterer or that he was a thief. He had a mark on his hand, okay? We basically have the same system, at least here in the USA, we have the same system, which is basically if you have stolen and you're in a database, okay, they run a background check on you. You want to buy a car, they'll run a background check on you to see if you've been a thief in the past or if you've broke the law in the past. It's the same method. So the idea in the Quran isn't a form of just torturing people, but it's more for addressing a societal issue to ensure that this person is repulsed by the idea of wanting to steal or wanting to have sex again, or premarital sex. What about amputations and crucifixions? I do believe when it comes to things that are, I made a video, what is it called? Tyranny. Tyranny according to the Quran. Please refer to that. Please refer to the video about tyranny. When it comes to war, okay, war is, the Quran does not like war, okay? The Quran encourages self-defense. God in the Quran tells us that oppression is worse than murder, okay? Oppression is worse than murder. What this signifies is that when you're in a war, okay, because I came from the Middle East, and we all know the chaos that is happening there. It's really brutal. You know, when you have soldiers invading an area, they start raping the women, killing the children, and all sorts of tortures, and it's just, it's horrible. And so when it comes to these types of things, okay, tyranny, God is very, very severe when it comes to tyranny. And crucifixion or whatever, all this stuff, it's you can do those things when it comes to tyranny. So I do encourage you to see that video because it really covers this topic. Correct. Aquila, correct. Thank you. Okay, let's see if we have. What about sexual relations if I can't find a partner? Too bad. Too bad. Can't find a partner? Too bad. To me, you know, having a girlfriend or a boyfriend, Tinder, don't go there. Having a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I think, is perfectly fine so long as you maintain righteousness. A lot of people have been asking me, I'm pretty sure they're teenagers, and I don't blame them. I've been there. What about kissing and stuff like that? Look, I personally don't find a problem holding hands, kissing, hugging, all these things. It's perfectly fine, in my opinion. But remember, the Quran says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Do not get near zina. Okay, zina, which refers to any form of sexual relations. So if that hug and a kiss and a holding hand is going to lead you further into something else, then you might want to back off and you might want to maintain righteousness. This is the idea. I'm a very open person. I'm not shy. In the past, I've done these things, these unrighteous things, and people make mistakes. I mean, we're human. We are weak. These things can happen. But of course, if you're striving to be righteous, make sure that your relationship is based off of righteousness. She needs to have the same intentions. Okay. So you might want to be careful with when it comes to relationships. Some people have asked me about masturbation. I personally don't see that there's anything wrong with masturbation. We are humans. We have desires, especially the boys, the teenage boys, going through all those hormones. It's a natural thing. So I personally don't see there's anything wrong with masturbation or having a partner, as long as you maintain your righteousness. Cutting off is mentioned in Surah Al-Kawthar. Yes, huwa al-abtar. Okay. Yeah, abtar, batara is to sever something. Correct. Qata'a can refer to severing, but in most cases it refers to cutting. Let me see here. Question, why was slavery not abolished outright? I think, I don't think, well, the Quran, if you have not watched my video about the MMA, the Ma Malakat Aymanukum, I do highly encourage you to watch that one. I know it's a very dense material. It took me a couple of months to put together. It's very dense. A lot of people saying, oh, it's just too much. And I go, yeah, I know. I should have probably broke it down into parts. But I do address this idea of slavery in the Quran. And what I've concluded is that the Quran actually is abolishing it, but not like all at once, but more like a gradual. See, if you abolish slavery altogether, say a man has several slaves, and you just let him go, you're going to have a problem. Well, they're going to have a problem. It's very possible, you know, it's basically like abandoning your own children, except for the slaves who are not your children. You're letting people go out in the streets and they have no rights. People still don't like them, and all these things. And this is exactly what happened in the US as well, right? So the Quran actually says, if you have a slave, okay, if you have a slave, they are no longer your slave. You can let them become your servants, okay? Servants, that is, they'll work for you. You pay them, okay? You treat them with respect and you pay them. They are now part of your family. Or if you choose to let them go through marriage and give them money. This is how the Quran is discouraging or abolishing slavery in a gradual manner. So it's not telling you no more slaves, but it's telling you the pre-existing slaves are no longer slaves. Let them become your servants. Pay them, respect them, and they are part of your inheritance as well. Or if you choose to let them go, and you're encouraged to do so, let them go through marriage, okay? Because back then, marriage was a form of protection, being in a marriage status, and give them money, okay, to marry them off. This is how the Quran treats slavery. So I do encourage you guys to check out the MMA video. Can a girlfriend be an MMA? Not to my knowledge. I mean, I've heard people, interpret the Quranic verses that way, but to my understanding, the ma malakat aymanukum is referring specifically to pre-existing slaves, not to girlfriends. Yeah, so you didn't really miss anything in regards to the scientific miracles, James. I was just talking about how I don't agree with this idea that there's scientific miracles in the Quran. Inshallah, I'm going to post a video about it. I do believe that the Quran is geared more to simplistic views rather than scientific views. If a person chooses to do a scientific view in the Quran, it needs to be acknowledged that this is merely an extrapolation or an interpretation on behalf of the person. It's basically, the Quran isn't meant to be scientific, I should say. Okay, I don't even know what time it is. If there are no miracles, how can we believe? Let me see this question. Omar, if there are no miracles, then how can we believe? Well, just think of it this way. How did people back then believe that the Prophet Muhammad was not a crazy man, but he had received divine revelation and the Quran is the word of God? How did they believe back then? It was really a rhetorical question, sorry. Okay. It's hard for Quran alone followers to find a partner. I agree with you. But I have quite a handful of friends who are Quran alone followers who are having a hard time finding other Quran alone partners. And I understand this problem. But remember, guys, this is really a tip. This is just a tip on my behalf, based off of experience. Just because just don't be so nitpicky, okay? For me, marrying a traditional Muslim is a very possible thing, okay? At least because where I come from, they're all traditionals. The idea is that you want to find a partner that is open, that is receptive to other views, to other ideas. And perhaps sometime later, he or she will become more convinced to what you are talking about or anything of that sort. I don't like talking about my personal life, but what I can say is that my partner, my wife, she comes from a traditional background, and we still got engaged. As she's a traditionalist, we still got engaged. But I chose to marry her because I saw that she was very receptive to the idea of Quran alone. And guess what? It wasn't until later on down the line she was 100% with me, and as far as following the Quran alone. So I mean, it's very possible, guys. So don't limit yourself to just finding a Quran alone partner. Be open. Even Christians or Jewish, whatever, And sometimes I have some friends who, you know, they still married a person from a different religion, as long as they respected each other and had an agreement as to what that they're gonna, you know, respect each other's ideologies and how they're gonna raise their children and so forth. You know, it's manageable. Do not limit yourself necessarily. Okay. Brother, for a clarification, does sinin and am define the same thing? I still am looking into this. Some feedback from other viewers here, it would be appreciated. But here's what I see. The word sinin, the word sinin means something that recurs. Means something that recurs. Um, Let me try to remember the verse. There's a verse in the Quran where God put a person to death for 100 years and then resurrected him, and he told him to look at his food. His food, lam yatasanna. Okay, lam yatasanna. His food did not spoil. So it's the same root. Sinin, sana, lam yatasanna. Okay, so his food did not spoil. In other words, the word sana signifies a naturally occurring thing. A naturally occurring thing. So God is telling this person that your food did not yatasanna. It did not naturally spoil. So sinin, in reference to a year, most likely refers to perhaps a season that recurs every year. Okay, because you get spring every year. That's a sana. Whereas the word am, comes from the root awama, which means something that kind of floats above, ya'um, or swims within it. Sorry, swims within something, and it refers to a generalized year. Okay, so sana is specific. My birthday, for example, would be considered a sana. It refers specifically on this day every year. Whereas am refers to the general time of the year. Okay, any time of the year. Okay, this is how I understand it. And it's interesting that I still don't know what the answer is. I still don't know what the answer is where Prophet Noah stayed with his people ألف سنة إلا 50 عاما. 1,000 sana except 50 am. I still don't know what that really means. I mean, as far as I know, in the Bible, he did live 950 years. But I find it interesting that the Quran is using two different terms in reference to a year, which may signify something very different. So inshallah, you know, whoever has answers for that, I'm open for that as well. Wow, I've been talking for an hour? I usually don't do this. I don't talk that long. What do you think of the intelligent design movement, please? And it's... intelligent design, can you specify? Birthdays are not haram, brother. Celebrate them and have fun. Enjoy life. Keep it very simple. Look, when it comes to, a lot of people are asking me, is this haram? Is this halal? Is this haram? To me, I don't like answering these types of questions, and I don't mean offense, but because then I feel like some type of mufti, right? And I am not. There is no such thing as a mufti anyway. But the thing is, to me, when I started following Quran alone, life became extremely simple. There is no haram except what God makes haram. Okay? There is no haram except what God makes haram. So people are like, don't celebrate your birthday, don't do this. God does not forbid it. Therefore, have fun, you know, blow those candles, enjoy your cake. That's the idea. God, when it comes to things that are haram, it's very clear in the Quran. So have fun. Okay, let's take a couple more questions and then I'm gonna go. And inshallah, okay, let's see. Intelligent design, proof there is a biological Big Bang. Okay. And that the absence of transitional fossils shows species have appeared suddenly. James. What am I gonna do with you, bro? I'm just joking. By the way, I'm very, like, in real life. Me as a person, I'm very sarcastic and I'm a jokester. So I think, James, you bring up a very good question. And I don't know if you're referring to a specific Quranic thing. My take on evolution, for example, is I do believe that there is evolution, absolutely. But I do believe it's more of within the species. It's not, you know, an apple became a bird. No. But I do believe that evolution has some merit, scientifically speaking. And the Quran, again, the Quran is not a book of science, but the Quran hints to that Adam, for example, the creation of Adam was a process. It was a process. God uses the word istawa, ثم سويته, okay? ثم سويته نفخت فيه من روحي. So when God made him, سويته, the word sawa means to start making, applying something to make it equalized. That's what sawa refers to. When God said, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْعَرْشِ, okay? I don't think that God sat on a nest, as traditional Muslims will say. No, استوى على العرش. So the word sawa refers to a process of equalizing something. And so the creation of Adam, when God says, when I stawaytuhu, okay? ثُمَّ سويته, sorry, sawaytu, not stawaytu. Sawaytuhu, it means that he has been, the process has been completed, okay? This may infer the process of evolution. It may, or it may not, okay? But to me, this term indicates that it was not an instantaneous thing, but rather it's a process of creating Adam. Then when God blew into him, that's when Adam became conscious, or when consciousness arose. So it refers to evolution. This is at least how I understand it. And keep in mind, people become very repulsed by this idea of evolution. But we need to bear in mind the fact, evolution is a fact, at least within the same species. Think about it like this. You have a fox, a hyena, now I'm running blank. A fox, a hyena, a dog, all these canines, different types of canines. These are evolved species of one another, okay? Same thing for a cat, a lion, a tiger. You know, these are all evolved species of one another. Evolution is basically changing to adapt to the environment. And that's what ultimately evolution is. And to me, I do see humans as evolved species based off of where they live. Look at Africans. Africans tend to be tall, dark, right? Because of the heat. Whereas you go to Northern Europeans, you have the very opposite. Or well, they're also tall, but they're more husky and white, right? And so it seems like even the way humans look have an evolutionary thing, okay? So, and this idea of we came from apes, which is a common thing that I see from people who are against evolution. We need to understand that that's not what the theory of evolution says. The theory of evolution does not say we come from apes. It says we share an ancestor with apes. So, and that's different than coming from an ape, okay? So, I mean, this is a very good topic as well. I'm not very um, I haven't looked into this idea of evolution yet, but again, these are my thoughts in regards to, in reference to Adam at least. God does say sawaytuhu, so it may refer to some form of process that was happening. Okay. Fossils that you mentioned, James, I don't know. At least at this point, I don't know. Okay, so let's take one more question, guys, and then we'll end it for the day. James, thank you. I'll take that in the English term. Can you skip Fajr so early? You mean the Salat al-Fajr? Look, guys, I'm not, again, I'm not a mufti. I'm not going to say yay or nay. I personally have missed the Salah a number of times, especially after having kids. I have, yeah, absolutely, I have. Remember, we're human, guys, and sometimes our situations, circumstances don't allow us to do certain things that we want to do. The Fajr, if, you know, some people have concluded, actually, you don't need to do it in Fajr. You can do it right when you wake up, you know. Some people concluded that, but I don't agree with it. Just do your best, okay? Do your best. God sees us. He sees our intentions and what we're striving for. And as long as we're striving to do these things, to maintain our salah sessions and so forth, you know, God sees our intentions, and that's what really matters. And when it comes to the salah sessions, like I said, to me, it could be something as simple as just, you know, getting up, reciting a little bit of Quran, and, you know, it takes you know, a few minutes, then go about your business. Sometimes I have time to sit down and read Quran for a while, or just listen to Quran. It's fine, at least to my perspective it is. Okay, so let's end it here. I've been talking for 68 minutes about, and I've never sat this long talking to myself. No, I'm just kidding, for 68 minutes. So are you guys okay with this format? Are we good? I just want a confirmation. I want to make sure that this type of dialogue is okay with you guys and you guys like it. Or should I just not do this and never talk to you again? Okay, it's good, it's good. Yes, you may continue. Thank you. He gave me the authority to continue. All right. Maybe for not so long, though. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. All right, guys. And this is the idea, really. I want to have more of a unique live stream so I can interact with you. And I know it's ultimately one-way talking, but I'm trying to absorb everything that you guys are saying, because it's also you that is helping me. So we're ultimately helping each other. It's more of a live Quran study type of thing. So I hope you guys are enjoying this, and inshallah, we'll definitely, you know, do some more of these. But I won't talk for so long, to Aquila at least. I won't be talking to him or her. I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl, sorry. But thank you guys. You should find a place to sit during stream so you can relax and chill. Yeah, there's benches over there, but they're sunny. and I don't want to get a tan. I want to keep my whiteness. Okay, so thank you guys so much for attending this, and inshallah, I'm gonna be posting a video about the idea of scientific miracles in the Quran, and just my thoughts about it. And inshallah, we'll continue these live streams more so. Okay, take care, guys. Salam.